everyone, it's Melissa from melscardcorner.com, and as I promised a few days ago when I received my paper pumpkin kit, I am going to share a couple of alternative ideas today, as well as showing you the 3 cards I made following the instructions in the box. So let's get started. First, I will show you the 3 cards I made following the instructions in the box. I'm not going to show you how I made these because the instructions are in the box, but I just wanted to show them to you. So this was the first card. It says, "You're the best there is." I did get my sentiment a little bit high, but I still think it looks fine. And then I did take a little bit of liberty with the instructions in the box. The card bases are this paper, front and back, and it's a side fold card. But so I could stretch the kit supplies a little bit farther, I cut it in half, and then I just put this on my own top folding card base. I made the card base out of basic white thick cardstock. So that is the first card, and then these are the envelopes, and I used the tree stamp from the box to add that onto the envelope, but that was in the instructions to do it that way. And I used the Misty Moonlight ink, which is included with the kit. I didn't use my stamping spot though. I used my full-size one just because I already have it and it's already open. Then here is the second card. Let me, I guess, move those so they're not right in the picture. Same thing, all the envelopes are the same with the trees stamped on them. And once again, I did the same thing. I cut this card base from the kit apart and then just put it on my own card base. But the front of it is exactly as shown in the instructions. So that's a very pretty card. All right, and the last one, I also changed up just a little bit. I did the same trick of cutting the card base apart. This time I put it on a top folding card, but because it was running this direction, if that makes sense. It's still top folding, but it's folded the opposite way of the other 2 cards. And what I changed up on this one is the directions in the kit. This uses a Father's Day sentiment. And my dad actually passed away 4 years ago yesterday. So I don't really have a need for a Father's Day card. So instead I used, what is the name of the stamp set? Just one second. Here it is. I used this sentiment from Comforting Thoughts instead to make it into more of a, encouragement card for someone who might be going through a hard time. I was kind of struggling yesterday just with emotions, and so that just kind of struck me, when I was making these. This circle is from the kit, and it already comes pre-printed, with the trees on there. So, yeah, but I thought this sentiment fit perfectly on the little banner die cuts in the kit. And so that, again, I did the envelope the same. So that is the 3 cards from the kit. Now, for the cards I've created, I did variations on a theme. So here's a card I made using some supplies from the kit, but not all. I did use a different sentiment. This sentiment is from the Layering Leaves stamp set. What did I use? Oh yeah, So Happy to Celebrate You. And this stamp set is, you see the little $1 million sales logo down here. This was the stamp set that was helped to be designed, that was designed in combination with Rachel Tessman. It's the end of a very long work week for me, so I apologize that I'm stumbling over my words. But yes, and it seems appropriate to use this when I'm doing a paper pumpkin alternative because Rachel is known for her paper pumpkin alternative videos. And in fact, she has shared that she specifically designed this stamp set for creating alternative kit card ideas. And so she has just like a wide variety of great sentiments on here. And so I used the So Happy to Celebrate You. The little leaves and foliage here on the card are included in the kit. They're die cuts you just punch out of the sheet. But what I did was I cut them in half so that I could kind of spread them a little further in out on the card. And then I created this DIY wood grain paper for the card, and I will show you how to do that in just a few minutes. And then this piece of wood grain is actually from one of the envelopes in the kit. I don't mind using a white envelope. I did, the 3 cards, I did those envelopes as shown in the kit. But like this, I will just mail in a white card, and I'm fine with that because I wanted to take advantage of this beautiful wood grain paper on the other envelopes. There are a total of 9 envelopes in the kit. I've used 3, so I've got 6 left over that I can use. And so let me show you how I utilize this. So for this square I've got on the back of here, this is, got to remember the measurements, 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 this way by 4 3/8 this way. So that way it's the same proportions as an A2 card. And I got that from this section on the back of the card. Now you will lose a little bit, as you can see here, where it's adhered together. So basically what I did was I just cut it there where the flap is, and then cut off that top curved area, and it left me that size. I may have trimmed off just a little bit to get the proportion right, but that was basically that size. Now, so what did I get from the rest of the envelope? Well, let me show you. From this main front panel, I don't know how well it will show up, but you've got a fold line here where, this folds over to seal. So from this top section, maybe it'll be easier if I flip this over to show you. I cut it on the fold line and then trimmed away the gummed top and then these 2 little angles right here. And that left me with a piece that is just shy of 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So very usable on a card. If you wanted to use it on one of our note cards, which are a little bit smaller, I believe they're 3.5 by 5, something like that, you could trim it down a little bit more. And the width might work a little bit better on that size card than on an A2 card. Because as you see, that's not going to be not a whole lot of width to put on an A2 card. But it's certainly something, you could even trim it down to make, panels inside a card if you wanted to do it that way. But still, a very usable piece. So that's what I did with the flap. Then for this main part right here, I cut a piece off from the bottom that is 1 3/4 inches. And then I trimmed it down to 5 1/2. Since this is a envelope to hold an A2 card, it's a little bit longer or wider than a 5 1/2 inch A2 card. So I did trim it down just a bit to make it be 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. And if I want to trim it down to use, on a card here, I could just trim off another, 1/4 inch, and then I could use it as a layer that way, or I can use it the full height of the card. Oh, got something on there. Ugh, made it worse. But anyway, so that is what I got from this bottom section. Then from this top section, I used the, what is the name of these dies? Stylish Shapes dies. And I got 2 circles that are 2 1/2 inches. So they're the same size as the circles that are included in the kit. They just don't have the trees obviously pre-printed on them, but I can totally add the trees on there using some early espresso ink or any other color ink for that matter that I might want to use. So from one envelope, which like I say, there's 6 of these still. Well, now there's 5 because I've cut one already. We got this layer, 2 die cut circles, and 2 layering pieces. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, loving that. So this paper pumpkin kit, unfortunately, is no longer available. You have to sign up by the 10th of each month to get that month's box. So maybe you love this alternative that I've created, but you're like, but I can't make that card because I don't have the kit. I don't have the products. Well, yeah, you still can. Oh, in fact, let me show you one thing. These little enamel dots were not part of the box, and they are unfortunately retired, but they were crumb cake, and it just went so well with the card. I went on and used them. These are the adhesive backed speckled dots, and it has copper clay, crumb cake, moody mauve, and mossy meadow. And so I used some of these crumb cake ones. But yeah, I just thought, and if you don't have these, you could certainly use, rhinestones or pearls or something like that. You could even use Stampin' Blends to color them if you wanted to make them a different color. Or you could use any embellishment with these other colors. This is Wild Wheat, this is Coastal Cabana, and this is Misty Moonlight. So yeah, so that would work. But, so you're like, but Melissa, I don't have the kit. Can't make the card. Well, you can. This card is made using nothing from the Paper Pumpkin Kit. And it's equally beautiful. So what I've done with this one is I've done some die cuts. And for that, I used 2 of the standalone dies included in the textured floral. I used this one and this one. And then I just die cut them using Wild Wheat, Coastal Cabana, and Misty Mauve. The exact same colors the ones here in the kit were. Now, one thing I did on this card that's a little bit different, I don't know how well it will show up on camera, but I actually did a little bit of ink blending, or you could use a sponge dauber if you wanted to do that, to add a little bit of extra ink on these die cuts. Now, I didn't do it on the one that I made using the kit products because this is just a very lightweight paper. It's not even quite as heavy, I don't think, as our DSP is. These I die cut from cardstock, so they have a little more heft to them. And so I was concerned if I tried adding color to these from the kit that I might tear them when I tried to do the ink blending. So, but it's a very subtle look, but you can see it a little bit here on the Coastal Cabana. Just, it gives them a little more dimension and just makes them a little more interesting, I think. But I did the same technique here of creating my own kind of weathered wood. I was kind of going for an ocean weathered look, so more coastal colors. So that's why I've used some blues and that sort of thing in this. I used the exact same sentiment. This circle is from the Stylish Shapes dies as well. It's the third from the largest. There's like the largest one down and then one down, and that third one is this one. And then I used the second one to cut out this circle from vellum. Sadly, Stampin' Up! No longer carries vellum, but I still have some in my stash, and I thought it would really be pretty to put behind that sentiment. And again, I used the same crumb cake enamel gems on here, or whatever they're called. So, now, and then on this piece, since I didn't use the printed paper from the envelope, what I did was I cut a piece the same size from crumb cake, and then I ran that through the timber embossing folder to get some texture on there. And then I took and did a little bit of ink blending on the debossed side using the basic beige ink. I didn't want to use the crumb cake because I didn't want it quite that dark, but I kind of just wanted to accentuate that wood grain a little bit. And the basic beige worked perfectly for that. So, and then the other thing I did was I did make this little strip of Misty Moonlight. I'm bending the leaves. I made it just a little bit wider. I liked the look of it a little bit wider. The one that came in the Paper Pumpkin is 1/2 inch by 3 inches, and I did mine 1/2 by 3.5. And I just feel like that extra 1/2 inch just really adds something to this card by hanging over just a little bit. So now let me show you how I did this background. The first thing we're going to do is grab a square of basic white cardstock, just the regular weight, not the thick. And then I'm going to grab a scoring board. And I'm using a mini one. The Stampin' Up! Scoreboard is a little bit large for my camera view. So I've got this mini one that I'm going to use for this. And then I'm going to bring in my scoring tool. And normally when I'm scoring cardstock, I would use the smaller stylus on the Stampin' Up! Scoring tool. But because I really want to accentuate the scoring on this to create that wood plank look, I'm going to use the larger one instead. And so because I want these to be evenly spaced across the card, this is 4 1/4 inches wide. It's a card front size. So I'm going to start at 2 1/8, which is the center of this piece. And I'm just going to score down at 2 1/8. And now I want a score line every 1/2 inch. So that's going to be 4/8 more than 1/8, which is going to be 5/8. And so now I know I just need to score every time at 1/8 and 5/8. So I'm going to jump to 3 1/8, then 3 5/8, and then 4 1/8. And then I'm just going to rotate my cardstock, and I'm going to do the same thing. I've already got my 2 1/8 here, so we're going to go to 2 5/8, then 3 1/8, 3 5/8, and 4 1/8. And so that's all of our scoring. And so you can already see, if I can get it in the light right, where we're getting that look of planks, right? Okay, so now I'm going to bring in some grid paper because we're going to get inky. And this is going to get very inked up, so I apologize. It's going to look a mess probably. Now we're going to do several different layers of color on this. That's the key to getting that really good wood grain look. So you're going to want to go very light-handed with your ink pads, especially since we have the firm foam ink pads. You don't want to go too heavy or you're going to end up with way too much ink. So the first color we're going to put down is crumb cake because, you know, wood still inherently is going to be brown. Some shade of brown. It could be a light brown. It could be a darker brown. But we're going with crumb cake since we're going for that kind of ocean look. And very, very lightly, I'm just going to run it across. And that's even probably almost a little heavy, but it's okay. So that's the first color we're putting down. And again, because we're building up colors, we don't want to go too dark too fast. So the next color I'm going to bring in is Misty Moonlight because that is one of the colors that was in the, it was the color included in the kit. And so again, this is a kind of a darker blue, so I want to go super light-handed with this. And so just very, very lightly come across, flip it around, and again, very lightly bring it across. And that's already starting to look really nice. And now again, since we're going for kind of that beachy ocean vibe, I'm going to bring in Coastal Cabana. Sorry, knocked my paper. And once again, we're going to bring it in lightly. And I did do it a little bit heavier than the Misty Moonlight because I really wanted to accentuate that kind of teal beachy vibe. And next, we're going to bring in Boho Blue. Yeah, I said that right, Boho Blue. And I just kind of want to bring in more of that blue tone, but I don't want to go as heavy as the Misty Moonlight. So once again, very lightly going to bring this across and add in some more of that blue. And finally, to tie everything together and kind of help blend everything out, I'm going to bring in Basic Beige. It's hard to see, but it's Basic Beige. And with this one, we can go a little bit heavier because this is a light color. And we're wanting to kind of bring everything together. So I will go a little bit heavier with that one. And it kind of fills in some of the white, but not completely, which is what we want. And so there we have it, a kind of ocean weathered inspired wood grain panel, wood plank panel, whatever you would call it. And as it dries, it's going to lighten up. These were the exact same colors I used on my other two cards. Oh, let me get this dirty paper out. And so you can see this one between these two and how the colors have kind of softened on these. And that will happen with this one over time as well. So these are the cards that I was inspired to create from this month's Paper Pumpkin. If you are not already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, there is a really pretty kit coming in June. I mean, I've only seen a couple of sneaks of it. I have no idea what's coming in it, but it's featuring some fruit. It's got like cherries and lemons and peaches, and it looks like it's going to be a really fun kit. So, but if you want to sign up for that, check out that description box below my video, and there will be a link there where you can subscribe to Paper Pumpkin. It is $25 per month, but that includes your shipping. And you just need to have signed up by June 10th in order to get that next box. There is also a coordinating die set that goes, I don't have it handy or I would show it to you, but there is a coordinating die set. It has a die that will cut out this shape. It's got a word die that says thanks, which coordinates with next month's box. And then it also has a layered butterfly that actually went with last month's box. So it's a quarterly die set. I believe it's $12, and it is open to Paper Pumpkin subscribers only. So if you're interested in that die set, it's called Thanks and Beyond. You would just need to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber to get that. But anyway, if you have any other questions, please let me know. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of my cards and this fun DIY weathered wood technique I've shown. And if you would like to purchase any of these products, since I did not use products from the Paper Pumpkin box for this, links will be down in the description below. And you can also find them in my online store by going to shopmelscardcorner.stampinup.net. And you can shop there 24/7. And it is limited for me to U.S. customers only. Stampin' Up! Policy, we are not allowed to sell outside of our own market. And so for me, that means if you live in the United States, you can certainly order through me. And I would love your business if you don't already have a demonstrator. And for those of you in the U.S., I hope you have a lovely Memorial Day weekend. Don't forget to take a moment on Monday to really think about what Memorial Day is and to remember our fallen veterans, and just don't get so caught up in all the picnics and everything that you forget what the day is really about. And I will get off my soapbox about that now. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love if you did. You can hit the little subscribe button down below. And if you would like to receive a notification whenever I post a new video, be sure to hit that bell icon and turn on all notifications. I am trying to do a video every Friday. This one is going to be going up very late because I did have a crazy long work week this week. But that is my goal, is to try and have a new video up minimally every Friday. But if I can get more up throughout the week, I am trying to do that as well. And I think that's everything, guys. Again, be sure to check out all the information down in the description box. You can find all the links there. And have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.